It's recording. Oh, I've never done this before.
This is what you get for being in the College of Education.
Okay, yeah, I've heard
They give
that.
free iPads out.
Oh yeah.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Okay, so a little summary about our topic is it's about ending poverty through furthering early childhood and elementary education in Minnesota. And we feel that this can be accomplished through charter schools, scholarships, and volunteering programs. The lack of education furthers poverty because children do not gain the tools to better their lives through a well-paid job. And as a group, we feel that it is important to explore the ways in which children are bettered through educational means and the ways in which the skills they get through a school's results that enables them to better qualify in the job market.
Okay.
So, we kind of chose to interview you more on tutoring, but we have other questions also for you. So,
I'll answer one.
okay. So we have some first questions. How long have you been in this field specifically?
So, I've worked in education for my entire career.
Okay.
I've worked in higher ed for most of it. So my background is educational psychology.
Okay.
So I have a master's in that, and really full-time since '88, I've worked in education. I came to this, the YMCA, a year ago, August.
That's very nice. Have you done anything to research, or like what have you personally done as an activist on through education?
In connection to literacy?
Yeah.
In connection to what we do maybe through the YMCA?
Yeah.
That might be, because it's a big field.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So from this particular branch of the YMCA, what we have is a literacy-focused initiative called
Okay.
Y Tutors.
Okay.
And Y Tutors is one of 3 programs that comes out of the America Reads funded program in CEHD.
Yeah.
So, and it's been here for longer than I have, so it's been in existence. Well, the funding actually came in 1996 from President Clinton.
Oh.
The whole America Reads
Yeah.
initiative started then. Our program reaches youth in the Twin Cities that are at 200% poverty levels, meaning they are eligible for free and reduced lunch.
Okay.
And we go into Minneapolis and St. Paul sites providing literacy, reading-focused tutoring to the K through 3 age kids. And so in order to prepare our tutors to do that, we collaborate with America Reads to provide training.
Okay.
And so part of the training and preparing for that is to understand how being able to read impacts a child's ability to be successful at school.
Okay.
So I'd say, the research piece is really understanding who we're serving in terms of the urban youth and the issues that not only those children face, but the families face, and so
Yeah.
understanding the stressors, as well as training students like yourself to understand how to work with youth, how to manage those relationships, how to be positive role models, but to also understand the pieces that are so important in teaching reading, and kind of the methods and then kind of the philosophy.
Yeah, that's really, I think, why we chose the project, because it's like that's such a key age, and if it's not focused on at that age, then you lose so much of that when you're older. So
Yeah, the United Way, as well as Target and some of the other larger corporations, fund tutor initiatives across the Twin Cities. They're very much pre-K through 3rd grade focused, because the idea is that when you read and learn to read in that K through 3 time period, then after 3rd grade you'll have that skill, so it won't be learning to read, it'll be reading to learn. And so they kind of reverse that statement. So they know, and they've shown in studies, that children who can read at their grade level by 3rd grade are less likely to drop out of school.
oh wow, well, that's really good. So then, do you believe that kind of answers this, but that education plays a realistic role in anti-poverty.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then, what are any other ways that you believe could improve the lives of children in poverty and close the gap between the rich and the poor?
There's a place called the Search Institute in Minneapolis, and the Search Institute developed what are called developmental assets. So they're looking at 40 different assets that children need to be successful, and not just successful in terms of a career, but successful in life. And they're really, to me, they're about providing different things in the life of a child so that they can have the support that they need in order to access everything around them. So the Search Institute is a really interesting thing for you guys to look into in terms of what do youth need in their life in order to have that kind of positive experience. One of the things we can do by providing our sites with college students is we can provide a role model and another adult in the life of a child. The children get to see that there's, things beyond their little grade that they're in, and there's reasons to stay engaged in school. They see a caring adult. Any mentor-based research you looked at is successful because of that piece, having a caring adult in their life. Beyond that, I think that children who can stay engaged in school typically will do that because they do have family support or have a good experience at the school or in after-school programs that can help connect staying in school to a life outside of poverty.
Okay. So then, what the project kind of entails is all three of us have subtopics.
Okay.
And so we all have specific questions about our subtopics. Mine is charter schools, but I just they're not really in depth, but have you ever had any experience with working with charter schools? Sure. Do you see a difference from regular schools and how the children's act to charter schools, since they're kind of known for this new way of teaching, and without, the teachers have less boundaries and everything like that? Have you seen a difference?
Charter schools are really unique from each other, is what I've learned.
Okay.
Before I knew a whole lot about charter schools, I kind of thought of them as being the same, but they're not. So some of them are specific to a culture, some of them are specific to a type of study. They vary in terms of who they're serving, the age group. So I can't really generalize about charter schools. The thing that we do know right now is that even our public schools aren't successful.
Yeah.
So nobody's being as successful as they could be.
Okay.
Some charter schools are more successful than others, but it's kind of hit or miss if based on our experience. And we do tutor in charter schools.
Okay.
And we also mentor 9th through 12th graders in charter schools, and they're all really unique. I think the idea, a lot of people have the idea that they could provide a different kind of education. And I think to some degree they do, but at the same time they have to deal with the standards, the national standards as well as our state standards. And if they're not, those kids could be behind.
And then off the note of, you said some of them are specific to certain aspects. Would you say, have you ever worked with any, are there any for the arts, or are there ones like that also? Would you say that helps, things like giving students different outlets like arts and sports?
Different ways to learn.
Yeah.
I think if it's not in place of, I think that the idea is to find ways to engage children in learning and for it to be positive. So it doesn't mean that working with clay may not help a child be engaged and have a positive experience. If they're only working with clay, it's a problem. Yeah. So it's kind of like what in addition is happening in that classroom. Yeah. Is there a good teacher? Is there a relationship? Is there support for that child? What happens when they leave the classroom too? So none of it can really be looked at in isolation, because none of us really operate in isolation. We're individuals, but then we're part of a family, which is part of a community, which may or may not have access to the same kind of education.
Yeah.
So it's just, you have to, what I've learned is to not generalize, and what I've learned is to ask questions and,
Yeah.
to really try and understand a particular site or school or program's perspective and kind of what their mission and goals are.
Okay. Perfect. So then, I don't know if you want to go on. We have some more.
We have, every one of us has a subtopic, so
Okay.
my subtopic questions are based on scholarships.
Okay.
And I have 3 questions, and the 3 questions are some of children that grew up in poverty,
Mhm.
they have the chance to go to middle schools for free, and they have the chance to go to elementary and high schools for free.
Mhm.
But when it comes to higher education, most of them don't have the opportunity of, or some of them lack the financial resources to go to universities or private colleges. So is there enough scholarships for every student who wants to, who has a great desire of going to school?
Mhm. I think, scholarships vary. So, again, there's scholarships that are based on academics, there's scholarships that are, like the Page Scholarship is based on service and other
Right.
things. So I'd say there's certainly many scholarships. Is there enough? Probably there's never going to be enough, because education, higher ed is very expensive. Our state has made it more, I think, more accessible in the community colleges because they're less expensive.
Right.
So there's ways to get at higher ed. Are all institutions equal? Probably not. If you have a 2-year degree, it's not going to be probably as valuable as a 4-year degree, depending upon your career field. So I'd say they've made it more accessible. I think that it's not where it could be at. Sometimes it's cheaper to go to a private school because they do have more scholarships
Right.
than like the U does. I don't know. I don't think we have the answer yet. I think it's better than it has been, but could it be improved? Could there be more funding? Sure. I think so. And to really look at what motivates a child coming out of poverty to consider higher ed, and maybe connecting. How do we support kids from a really young age? The idea that anyone could go to college, I don't know that that's always true. But how could we change that? By maybe providing some incentive, like you're talking about, the ability